Welcome back to the Coaches Show here on 90.1 KBPK. I am Ryan Osborne, and you're going to see the host of the Coaches Show, Ray Baker, in just a couple of moments. Out here at House Scherbeck Field, you can see in the background things are kind of hazy. That's the same way that it felt after the final score came through on Saturday between College of the Canyons and Fullerton. A 19-17 win for College of the Canyons, where Fullerton looked at the dinner table and said, you know what? We had a couple more chances to get second helpings and weren't able to convert. When you look at Fullerton College, this last Saturday, 19-17 two-point loss, first time in a little bit that they had lost to College of the Canyons on home turf. Now, football isn't the only thing that we've got here on the Coaches Show, as we've got some volleyball coming up with Ray Baker out at Colleen Riley Court. But before we send it to him, let's get to Coach Phil Austin. So we're being joined by Coach Phil Austin. Coach, when you look at this last Saturday, you know, the haze that we see here in Fullerton kind of displays how the final score went. You look at how your team ended up playing in the first half versus the second half, you guys were extremely different.
Yeah.
When you look at how your DBs played overall, what grade do you give them?
I thought it was maybe a B minus. Thought we could have played it a little more aggressive on some of the underneath routes. When we're blitzing, the quarterback doesn't have a lot of time to get the ball off, so we really need to squat down and drive those short routes. And if they're going to catch those balls, we really need to tackle them right away, not let them catch the ball, get upfield. I'd probably never give an A unless we, give up 0 yards passing. But I always look at you could always get better. There's always things you could improve on. And without a scrimmage, without a first game, you're out almost 2 years, since we had a game. So we're still adjusting. We're still learning, who our personnel is, who can play for us, who shows up on Saturday, So going through normal growing pains early in the season against a tough opponent.
One thing that you just mentioned that was huge is the tackles and making sure that you wrap up the first time. I know you personally, when we've talked, missed tackles always really bug you.
Yeah.
When you look at your guys, how do you make sure that going into a new week, they don't go into a game and say, you know what, I can use that same tackling technique from last week?
Yeah, well, anytime you miss a tackle, there's a reason. Same thing with a receiver dropping a pass. If he dropped the pass, there's a reason he dropped the pass, whether it's his hand placement, he let it get too close to his body. Same thing with tackling. Sometimes it's you're leaving your feet too early, you're not taking an extra step, you're not keeping your head up. But we had some embarrassingly bad tackle on Saturday where guys totally whiffing, and you can't do that in college football. Guys aren't just going to let you run into them full speed and just lay them out. They're going to actually move. So guys just got to get used to breaking down, making tackles. It's hard to simulate that in practice when you can't really go live all the time. You got to keep guys healthy. So it's just part of the course. Usually in the beginning of the year, you don't have the best of tackling, and you just hope to improve as you go on.
When you look at Saturday, their game plan changed from the first quarter to the second quarter. All of a sudden, their quarterback starts rolling out left and right. How do you think that your DBs performed once that switch over happened?
It was different. It was new, especially when we're blitzing. You're used to maybe 2 seconds and the ball has to come out. Now that quarterback was able to buy time, get out of the pocket, where some of our techniques are really designed to cover for a couple seconds. Then after that, we really put the onus on the front seven to get the pass rush in. So it works hand in hand. I thought we did okay. For the most part, I think they had 320 yards offense. Their top receiver, I think he had around 30 yards for the game. He averaged, I think, close to 200 a game before that. So overall, we did some good things. I think we have a talented group, but like I said, we still have to improve and get better. And this week is a totally opposite team. You got a team that throws the ball all over the place, and now you got a team that's going to run the ball all over the place. So got to change your mindset and dial in for a team like this.
I mean, when you mention that, you look at Hancock. This is a team that over the last, 3 or 4 years of play, it seems like they've got a top 5 rushing attack each and every year. How do you train your guys from the DB end to say, hey, you know what, we've got to be up and help cover that?
Well, the issue is you get put to sleep because they run the ball, and then as soon as they see you start to not pay attention, they hit you with the play action. So it's really mental. I've played in games like that before against option teams as a safety. They used to move me to corner thinking that'd be a good idea because I could tackle. But, I'm trying to get in that action, and eventually you get popped or you fall asleep and they catch a route on you and you're not prepared. So it's really mentally staying locked in. And I think if we rotate guys, keep guys fresh, I think that will help with that. But also with the safeties. I mean, you're keying tight ends now, and you make a couple plays in the backfield and you feel confident, and here comes that run again, and then boom, that tight end pops out on you. So you got to stay disciplined, trust your reads, trust your keys, and they've done a good job so far during the week. So hopefully, this is hard to simulate an offense like that when our offense isn't like that. You know what I mean? The way they get off the ball, their tight splits, the pulling and stuff like that is hard for our scout offense to simulate. So it's going to be interesting how we come out early in the game Saturday.
When you look at a team like Hancock, that offensive line, you mentioned pulling, they like to make sure that those guards pull out and then move over towards either sideline to get themselves at least into the secondary. When you look at your guys in terms of tackling to help that out, how do they make sure that they get the correct read on where the running back's going to go once those guards pull out?
Well, you got to read the tight end. You got to understand offensive football. The guards are usually going to take you to the play. The fullbacks are usually going to take you to the play. So it's all about reading your keys and trusting it, not getting greedy. As a safety or a corner, you can't let anyone outside you. So you can't be trying to jump inside and make tackles that aren't yours. That's someone else's responsibility. So it's almost like playing a triple option team. Someone's got dive, someone's got quarterback, someone's got pitch. So that's how it works. We got someone playing inside, we got somebody playing the edge, and if it pops out, we have to be there to make the play. And then backside, you got to be able to play cutback. You could get a reverse, you could get something fancy. They may just come out with something. You play the Hornets, you need to bring out your bag of tricks.
When you look at special teams this upcoming week, we know that Kushan has these legs that are possibly one of the best in the state. How do you free him up for some more opportunities for big returns?
It's been tough. I mean, we've been getting almost starting defenses running down on kickoff. We've been still trying to find the right guys that are going to go down and block the correct people. So I'll take the onus on that. Our kickoff return and kickoff teams have been horrible in my eyes, the way I view things, with a talented returner like that. But, they're not scared of them. They're kicking them the ball. So we just got to do better. And I think this week we have some more starters participating on special teams like we've had in the past. And I just got to do a better job preparing them for the week.
For a person who maybe watches football on Saturdays on their TV, maybe Sundays, they look and they say, oh, well, the guy is going to field it, take off downfield with space, and he just kind of decides where he wants to go. When you talk about blocking for a guy who has legs like Kashawn, how do guys pick up the correct assignment before he gets the football?
Well, just reps and practice, because we don't do too much fancy stuff. I mean, as you see, all our returns, we're going up the right hash, and that's where we're coming, And so everyone, it's more about, I want guys to know what they're doing and confident in what they're doing, and we have confidence that our guys are going to be better than their guys. We're going to pick up our blocks, and we're going to leave their safeties and their kicker to try to tackle Griffin. And best of luck to them. But I think if we can get hat on a hat and put our hat in the right placement and at least get a hat on every one of their guys, Griff is a guy that could break loose and make big plays for us, and I think he will.
Coach, best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
And we want to thank Coach Austin once more for joining us here on the Coaches Show as we get set to break down just what took place between College of the Canyons and Fullerton College on Saturday afternoon. Remember, both of these two teams heavily contesting one another in years past. They came into this game as a top 10 opponent matchup between College of the Canyons and Fullerton. College of the Canyons sat at 7, Fullerton College sat at 8. So, both of them high-quality opponents, and as Mark and Corey mentioned on the broadcast, Fullerton, the last two times they had gone to the championship game, had beaten College of the Canyons in both of those consecutive years. For College of the Canyons, things started off quickly. After an initial field goal on their first time down the field, Colton Doyle was able to settle himself into the pocket and find a wide open receiver in Trevon Elliott from 20 yards out to make it 10-0, College of the Canyons with the lead. And that's how it would go until the end of the first quarter. Then Fullerton finally gets on the board. A big-time drive finishing off, capping off with a Brandon Rankins touchdown from 1 yard out, and Fullerton was back in it, down by 3 at 10-7. However, the man of the afternoon, Ty Morrison, was fantastic for College of the Canyons throughout the entirety of the game. For College of the Canyons, he would finish the afternoon 5 of 5, and this field goal right here from 30 yards out would make it 19-7. He was automatic whenever he stepped up, and it gave College of the Canyons a big-time advantage. Now, Fullerton, later on in that second half, with just about a minute left until the end of the third quarter, Devin Moore right up the gut into the end zone for a touchdown, and Fullerton gets themselves closer. Not quite there yet, but closer, 19-14. After both teams traded a bunch of possessions going back and forth, Fullerton got themselves in good field position, but on fourth down, elect not to go for it from deep inside the 10, and they go for a field goal attempt. Cesar Velasquez ends up stepping up to this football from 24 yards out, a little chip shot for him, and he is able to get that attempt to go up and to go right through the uprights, which was huge for Fullerton College because it gets them to not just within one score, but it means that only a field goal would get them back in it. That is when the Fullerton offense had their opportunity with under 3 minutes to go. Galban steps up, drops back in the pocket, and throws a pick, and it seemed like Fullerton's afternoon was done, as College of the Canyons was able to take the football away with less than 2 minutes remaining in this ballgame, and all they had to do was run out the clock. However, that's not where it would end, as Fullerton's defense, as they have done in many years past, ended up getting a huge play. They get into the backfield, they force a fumble, and not only do they force it, they recover it just inside their own 20-yard line to give Fullerton one more chance at having the football and getting an opportunity to get a field goal to possibly win the game. However, as Fullerton got the football back just 2 plays later, Galban ended up looking to his right, tossed it up, and it ends up getting picked off. And that would be the final chance for Fullerton College on Saturday afternoon, as it would finish with the Cougars winning 22-17 as they would tack on another field goal later on in that game thanks to Ty Morrison's 32-yard attempt. So that ends up being the final 22-17. College of the Canyons with the win. They finish with 337 yards of total offense, 243 yards in the air. On the other side for Fullerton, just 281 yards of total offense, 184 in the air. Both teams basically equal rushing-wise, 97-94, with Fullerton leading in that category by a +3. However, the fumbles, interceptions, sacks, that's where this game kind of ended up taking its form. Fullerton ended up losing 2 fumbles, and on the other side for College of the Canyons, they would lose 1. And Fullerton, with the interceptions that you toss in there as well, 3 of them, and College of the Canyons takes those away, turns them into points. Now, as we get set to send it off to Ray, he's got head coach Megan Tomac of the volleyball team here at Fullerton College.
So we're courtside here with head coach Megan Tomac. And coach, we talked before the game how important this one was for you guys. Now you're 1-1 in Orange Empire. Is that kind of what you wanted to get out of this, was make sure that you got that win, but then get some of that momentum going as you get really deep into some of the better teams?
Definitely, 100%. I think today was an awesome reflection of everyone coming in, everyone doing their job. I don't think that we necessarily, dropped our level of play. I think we all worked hard, and what I love to see is our middles getting involved. I know we talked about that early on, and the confidence today we came in with was something that we need to continue pushing for moving forward. I think there's a really good confidence, really good composure, everyone trusting each other and trusting that they were going to get the job done, which I love to see today.
We talked about that before. We talked about your outsides. We talked about your middles getting involved. Your middles got involved early. They were really effective, and you didn't take your foot off the gas. It went middle all night long.
Yep.
Is that kind of where you wanted to go with that? I mean, your
100%.
outside hitters are amazing, but most of your points came from your middle blockers.
Definitely, and that's something that we've been working towards. We've been working really hard towards. I know in practice we spend a lot of time doing breakouts and connecting with our middles and setters, and that's kind of been our missing piece, of just having that option, knowing when to feed them, for them knowing to go up and swing, not just straight ahead, but turn and hit zone 1, turn and hit zone 5, and I think they did a really good job of that tonight. So,
talk to me a little bit about serving. I know you and I've talked about that a lot. Tonight, you guys served unbelievably well. You had some aces from some people we haven't seen aces from.
Yep.
How were you impressed with how you served tonight against this team?
Definitely, no, and that's something that, it's really easy to come in with a lack of focus and just miss your serve, and tonight there was barely any missed serves. They were going in, they were being confident, they were hitting the zone. We're always talking about float serve, that's the most aggressive serve in women's volleyball. We always say if there's any kind of spin on the ball, that's not a good serve, and I think we did a really good job serving aggressive, and every single person holding themselves accountable to know just how important that is.
What do you do or change, if anything, as you head into Friday? You've got Cyprus, away game.
Yep.
How important is that? It's another OEC game, but they're near the top of the standings.
Yep.
What do you do from this game that you carry over into that game to try to get that win?
Yeah, we continue building, we continue moving forward. One thing that we keep telling the girls is they have to know just how much they've already improved. We've been 2 years, no indoor volleyball. Majority of our team is all new, playing together, just kind of getting this chemistry, getting this confidence, composure all figured out. And we have what it takes. We have the talent now. It's just a matter of mindset and building that consistency. And that's something that we keep telling them. We have everything we need. Now, how can we make that consistent? And I think tonight was the first time we really saw that consistency, not just from key players or certain players, but we saw it from everyone.
Last question for you is, we've seen some of those fifth sets get really deep, 15-13. Are you working on something like that so that if you do get deep into that fifth set, you've got some energy left? This one was a quick one.
Yep.
But you need some of that energy, some of that excitement coming in that fifth set. What do you do for that?
Definitely. No, I think practice-wise, always planning a practice that is a game-like situation. Creating that pressure that they feel in that fifth set of practice. Everyone does well when there's no pressure. Everyone goes out there, everyone swings away, we serve aggressive. Now, how are we playing when we start feeling that pressure creeping in? Are we letting that pressure take us over? Or are we using that pressure to our advantage? And that's something that we keep talking about, is just mindset. And I think for me, going into Cyprus and just moving forward, that's what we have to continue working towards, just getting that mindset right. So I think they did a great job with that tonight.
Awesome. Coach, thanks. Great win.
Thank you.
See you in Cyprus.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
And again, we'd like to thank Coach Tomac for joining us here on the Coaches Show and also joining Ray out at Colleen Riley Court. We're going to send it back to Ray in just a couple of moments, but first, let's take a look at what happened in that last matchup for Fullerton College as they got set to take on Santiago Canyon. For the Hornets, they were coming into that matchup having lost each of their last 5 matches. And for the Hornets, when they look at those last 5 matches, it hadn't gone particularly well for them, as they had taken a look at the likes of Mount Sac, Grossmont, San Diego Mesa, Orange Coast, and Santa Barbara all in that time. So they needed to get themselves back into an opportunity to get into the win column. This would be huge against Santiago Canyon because it's also an Orange Empire Conference play. Their last match that they played in, Orange Coast, they lost it 3-1. So, a chance for Fullerton College to get back into the winning ways against Santiago Canyon. But this Hawks team was looking for their first in-conference win and their first win in a while. In fact, when you look at Santiago Canyon, they had 1 win going into this matchup, and they were playing shorthanded with a total of 7 on the bench and on the court as well. So, Santiago Canyon, Fullerton, the way that ended up playing out, you have to take a look at the box score and look at Fullerton, how they were able to capitalize on their kills and attacks. Total attacks in set number 1, 28, 21 in set number 2, and 27 in set number 3. When you look at their kills, 12, 6, and 10. They were able to capitalize in sets 1 and 3 with a 357 attack percentage and a 333 attack percentage. On the other side, Santiago Canyon didn't necessarily have the answer for Fullerton College and their total attacks up front. Fullerton wins it in straight sets, 25-14, 25-10, and 25-15. For Fullerton, attacking-wise, leading the way was McKenna Mockery, 6 kills in total off of 15 attacks with a 333 attack percentage. Isa Domingo was the assist leader for Fullerton, as she has been all season long, along with Hannah Tobin as the libero for Fullerton College, 14 digs to lead the team. Let's send it back out to Ray at Colleen Riley Court.
All right. We are courtside with assistant coach Filip Tomac, yes, relation. What did you like tonight from this win? Didn't have to go to a fifth set. You looked like you had a lot of energy all the way through. You got some points from people we don't normally see get points from, which was pretty awesome. What did you like from tonight?
That was the biggest thing. It was just being able to go in and use the firepower that we really have, and being able to do that in this kind of game. It just gave us a little more confidence. So it was much better to be able to get everybody involved, allow us to maybe maneuver that in the next match.
You told me before we came onto the air for the broadcast was you wanted to get everybody involved.
Yep.
We saw a couple digs from Alexa Hauser, for instance, who made a great dig in the third set, and it kind of fired everybody up. Is that what you're talking about? Is getting people to do maybe something out of their comfort zone?
Yes, it's just being better at the things that we are usually not seeing as much. You know, being able to pass the ball, even you're not a passer in a sense, but also being able to be utilized in the offense. That was kind of the main focus for us. Our offense was usually based on the outside hitters. Today we were able to utilize the middles. Today we will be able to use the right sides, some dumps off the setters, which is really nice to see. We need to transfer that into the next match.
That's my next question. Is you go in now, you're starting to play some of these good teams in the OEC.
Yep.
You got Cypress coming up, you got Riverside Community coming up.
Yep.
What do you take from this game that you take in now to Cypress as you get ready to play them on Friday?
Confidence. That was the biggest thing. We have the talent, we have the ability. We just lack the experience of playing. We lack experience of playing together. And this is our first year playing with this team together, so we just lacking that experience. We lacking that confidence within each other. Once we gain that, sky's the limit.
I would hit myself if I didn't ask you about beach volleyball.
Yes.
You're a beach volleyball coach as well.
Yes.
Undefeated.
Yep.
A little bit different than out here.
Much different.
Talk to us a little bit about what is the different mindsets you take going from the court and now taking that out to the beach.
Well, the court is the biggest thing. Is you need to have height. You need to have physical ability consistently throughout all 6 players. Nobody can be. You cannot have a weak link in a sense. In beach volleyball, it's a lot more about ball control. It's a lot more of movement, and we have that. We have a great ball control. We have a lot of movement. We have athletic athletes that can play all kinds of balls. But the thing is, the biggest thing for us is in indoor, we need that height. We need that strong swing consistently for us to be super successful. And that's sometimes that we lack, but now adding the middles, adding the right sides, it will balance it out and it will bring us to a high level.
Coach, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, boss.
We'll see you on Friday at Cypress. All right, we are back here courtside. Hannah Tobin is with me. Great game tonight.
Thank you.
You played an amazing game. Talk to us a little bit. You're the only one out there. We tried to describe to our listeners and our viewers. The only one with a different jersey. You're the libero, the defensive specialist. Explain to us a little bit what that means and what your role is.
So, I guess the term libero in Latin, it means free. So you're like able to flow on and off the court. So technically it's like only back row player. I'm just passing, serve, receive, defense, never going front row.
Your passing tonight, superb.
Thank you.
You had a couple of sets, bump sets, normally not what you do,
No.
but setting that up. How do you decide on when you're going to do that, who you're going to pass that to? Describe to us a little bit on what that mindset is when you get in that spot.
Yeah, so typically when our setter, Issa, passes that first ball, I usually take the second ball, and I just decide who's on fire, what's the easiest set for me. If I have a right side, it's usually easier to send it that way and try and get the kill there.
Great tonight, amazing game. What do you take out of this game now that you take into to Cypress Friday that you liked out of here?
I think it's definitely a confidence booster. As you know, we've kind of been losing a lot, but we aren't a losing team. I think this really showed that we can play well together, and I'm just excited. I want to beat Cypress.
Okay, explain to me real quick, our last question here. Some of the serves you had almost changed directions. When you hit that, it looks like it goes over the net and then just dies. What are you doing differently? We saw you switch up a lot of the serves. Some were really heavy, long. You had a couple that, again, went over the net and the air came out of it. What are you doing differently to that?
Yeah, usually I just try to get a good float on it. Sometimes I'm trying to go deep, sometimes a little short. If I take it off, off the speed a little bit, that's when it's going to die short, and usually those are my most successful serves.
They work tonight. Hopefully they are on Friday. We'll see you then,
Yeah.
okay? Hannah Tobin, the libero, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Let's take a look at the current California state rankings for volleyball. And entering this week, Fullerton College was ranked 22 in the state and 14 in Southern California. Like Ryan mentioned earlier in the show, the Hornets dropped 5 straight matches, with 3 of those being 5th set heartbreakers. So Fullerton needed a big win in Orange Empire Conference play against Santiago Canyon, and they got one, 3-0. As we take a look at the OEC stats, Cypress College and Fullerton College lead the way in matches played, and although the offense is not where Coach Tomac would like it to be, the defense is really shining, with almost double the amount of digs of the closest team in Cypress College. The numbers that the Hornets are looking at are mostly in offense. Cypress, with 11 matches, is up there with them, but Golden West, Irvine Valley, and Orange Coast College have only played 6, 7, and 8 matches on the year, so their numbers will continue to grow. But the kills per set at 7.65 and the assists per set at only 3, Fullerton would like the offense to step up to the level the defense is currently playing. Fullerton is still very early in the 2021 Orange Empire Conference play, and as we begin to look at the standings as they sit right now, only through 2 matches for most of these teams, the 2 teams that stand out are Orange Coast and Cypress College, both 2-0 in OEC play so far. But if you'll look, Orange Coast starting their season 9-0 and Cypress starting their season 10-1. These are going to be very tough matches for the Fullerton Hornet volleyball team as we go through the rest of the season. As we take a look at the remaining schedule, a few really big matches for Fullerton coming up on the road this Friday against Cypress, and then the OEC play continues as Wednesday, the 29th, Riverside will come into Fullerton to play, and then Saddleback and Golden West right after that, followed by Santa Ana on October 13th. You can catch all these games right here at 90.1 KBPK. Now let's go back courtside where I got joined by Isa Domingo of the Fullerton Hornets. Again, courtside, Isa Domingo is with us, the setter. Great game tonight. Let me ask you a couple questions about this. We saw a couple times you're setting to either your opposite or your outside hitter. How do you make that decision on where you're going to go with that set?
Typically, I always go to my pin hitter outside, just when the play gets hectic. But now that we had the opportunity to run the offense and run it well, I just wanted to get everybody the chance to take a couple swings and execute the play.
So you mentioned some other players too. Normally your outside or your opposites on the outside get it. Middles today had a lot of points. You were setting up your middles all night. Talk to me of the first couple times when you realized that was going to work. That's where your go-to was going to be.
Oh man, I remember this one play where I set my middle Jade, and I set her 3 times in a row and we got the point. And that's what I just knew that we'll be set, and I just trust her for the rest of the season.
And it wasn't just Jade McIntyre. All of your middles were coming through.
Yes,
Alexis
exactly.
Hauser had a huge game tonight as well.
She did, yes.
Talk to me a little bit. You did a couple things where when that came over, you were looking at the court, you went over on 2. When do you make that decision as far as, instead of setting somebody, I can see an opening and I'm going to go over on 2?
I kind of have a sense of when the play goes long, and they just expect my hitters to swing, and then I just see my opportunity to just go over on 2, and everybody's so relaxed on the other side. It's just my time.
We saw some really long rallies in the 3rd set. Santiago can really kind of push back a little bit. With those, are you trying to just continue to set the outsides or the middles that are going? With that long of a rally, I'm assuming that gets tiring on you guys a little bit. How do you change that a little bit to maybe switch up the offense?
I think I do trust my girls, and I always think that repeating the set and just giving them a better look at the court every time is just a better advantage rather than just mixing it up. Because if I just repeat the set, they'll just have a better shot and just switch it up. Just a swing shot or a line or just a tip. And that just puts us in a better advantage rather than keeping everybody on their toes. Yeah.
Great win tonight. Isa Domingo, the setter. Thanks very much for being with us.
Appreciate it.
So again, we want to thank Coach Tomac and her entire staff, along with the volleyball team as well, in addition to Coach Phil Austin for the Fullerton football team. Don't forget that coming up on our sister station, sportsnetusa.net, on Saturday at 4 p.m., you can tune in to Corey Nayland and Mark Pavlovich on the call as Fullerton takes on Allen Hancock. For the host of the Coaches Show, Ray Baker, I am Ryan Osborne, thanking you for joining us. You've been watching the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK.